Is your life being wrecked by the super rich?
The super rich. Who are they and what are they doing to us?
What are they doing to us? Whatever it is, people say that just the fact that the rich have so much is itself immoral.
Immoral and wrong that the top 1/10 of 1% in this country own almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%.
Is that a moral outcome in and
No,
of itself?
it's not. It's not. And
they want to condemn the people that actually have moved civilization forward.
Yaron Brook of the Ayn Rand Institute's annoyed that today's democratic socialists say rich people got rich by taking money from others. In fact, they
actually improved the standard of living for everybody on the planet.
How is that possible? How could it improve everyone's living standard? Isn't there a fixed amount of money in the world, so when rich people grab a lot, there's less for everyone else? No, because wealth can be created.
We have basically made about $2 a day for 100,000 years. In other words, we could eat what we farmed, and that was it. And then something amazing happened about 250 years ago.
A few countries tried capitalism. For the first time, people were allowed to profit from private property. That changed everything. Division of labor let people produce more with less, and then they traded to get even more. Wealth increased with every innovation.
Cargo transported by ship used to be stored in barrels, in sacks, in wooden crates, and offloaded by hand.
Economist Don Boudreau points out that enormous wealth was even created by the invention of the shipping container.
With it came a wave of specialized technology that dramatically increased the productivity of shipping. Workers today are superhuman compared to their brethren of yesteryear. We went from carrying bags on our backs to lifting the equivalent of 2 school buses with mere flicks of our wrists.
Most of this innovation began just 250 years ago.
250 years ago, we suddenly discovered the value of individual freedom. We suddenly discovered the value of leaving individuals free to think, to innovate, to produce without asking for permission, without getting the state to sign off on it. And we call that the Industrial Revolution.
Industrialists, the people who owned the factories, employed hundreds, sometimes thousands of people. And they made enormous profits.
And how does that benefit your fellow man?
And ever since, politicians have complained about those profits. In Ayn Rand's novel, Atlas Shrugged, state officials demand that industrialists explain how their getting rich helped others.
I do not owe you an answer, but I could tell you in 100 ways. Thousands of jobs, billions in revenue, fueling our economy despite your efforts.
Hank Rearden was right. Capitalism created new wealth.
We got much, much, much richer. And it's hard to imagine how much richer we got. Of electricity, of running water, the things we all take for granted today, but we didn't have 150 years ago. And yes, some people complain about inequality, but everybody got richer. Even the poor got richer.
In the past several hundred years, we've gone from a society where people hoped to get jobs that required long hours of hard manual labor to one where almost everyone has what they need to live, and more people have leisure time to do things like watch movies.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I mention Harry Potter because Brooke bought lots of Harry Potter books, but he says he's not poorer for it.
J.K. Rowling became a billionaire, and I got poorer by thousands of dollars. And yet, nobody really thinks of themselves as poorer for having read Harry Potter. It made my kids happy. How much is that worth? So I'm actually better off for having spent those many dollars on those books.
Under capitalism, that applies to every transaction because capitalism, unlike socialism, is voluntary.
Like a pretzel.
We see this every time we buy something. The seller's there for his own self-interest, and so am I. So why do we both say, thank you?
Thank you.
Because he wanted the dollar more than he wanted the pretzel. I wanted the pretzel more than the dollar. The transaction doesn't happen unless both of us think we win. And that way, voluntary transactions create wealth.
thank you.
Thank you. Since the Industrial Revolution,
we have more than doubled our life expectancy. We have dramatically increased the quality of our life, and we are wealthier than anybody could have imagined.
Made possible by private property and capitalism, which people hate.
People don't like it because you know, it takes real responsibility over your own life to achieve something. And unfortunately, our educational system has taught us that since we don't sacrifice enough, because we're basically too self-interested to sacrifice enough, the state must now intervene and force us to sacrifice for our fellow man.
And that belief that sacrificing for others is more moral is what gives socialism strength.
It's not so tough to share your stuff.
Every priest, every philosopher, every mother has taught us that to be selfless is good. Selfless is good. No mother actually means that, right? No mother actually wants you to be last in line. They all want you to be first in line. But they tell you that because they think that's what nobility is. But the people who do for others are not more moral because they're wasting the one life that they have.
Lots of us see morality as helping other people.
If your house burned down, neighbors in America have always helped their neighbors.
What?
Nice
I
and
thought
decent
you
people.
objectivists didn't approve of that.
Ayn Rand was never against charity. What she said was that that was not the major virtue in life, and that you should voluntarily have a choice about who you help and who you don't. The key is that somebody else's need is not a moral claim against your life. Your life is yours.
Today's socialists say self-absorbed Americans won't help the poor and the sick. That's why government must force everyone to give. Otherwise, the weak and the poor will suffer and die.
But indeed, the weak and the poor under capitalism has done better than in any other system. It's a fantastic system that is fundamentally moral because it allows individuals to pursue their own happiness. Your pursuit of your own well-being, which is a virtue in and of itself, also helps the world be a better world.
Welcome back. Georgia State Senator Colton Moore calling for the impeachment of Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis after she indicted President Trump. Moore sent a letter to Governor Brian Kemp requesting a special session of Congress to review her decision, claiming that this is a crisis of state affairs. Former President Trump, meanwhile, is canceling his press conference on the Georgia election next week. Instead, he wrote this on Truth Social. His attorneys will present, quote, irrefutable and overwhelming evidence of election fraud and irregularities in formal legal filings. Joining me right now is Georgia Congressman Barry Loudermilk. He's a member of the House Financial Services and Administration Committees. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. What is your reaction to this state senator wanting to take down Fani Willis?
Well, it's very interesting, Maria, that is something that can be done through Georgia law. As someone who served in the state house and the state senate, I'm familiar with that. It would require, at this point, a special session, which would be the decision of the governor. I think this is an uphill battle for him, but I think the impeachment, if it's successful, the danger isn't about necessarily what could be done to Trump. It's what could be done to future candidates, future elections, because this clearly will politicize elections, because what she's claiming is something that is done within state law. Challenging an election is now criminal if you're not successful in the challenge. I mean, they're saying if you don't like the outcome of an election, then this could be criminalized if you follow state law and you file appeals and you go through the process. And so I think that's where the real danger is what will be done in future elections if this goes through. And unlike other charges, these hold a minimum prison sentence of 5 years. So this is very significant. It's something I think the legislature does need to be looking at very closely.
Well, let me ask you this, Congressman, because former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich shared a story on the Charlie Kirk show the other day, and he said that he has a reliable source who told him that the White House called Fulton County DA Fani Willis demanding that she make an indictment of President Trump on Monday as opposed to Tuesday. He said he has a reliable source that's told him the White House directed her to make the announcement of an indictment on Monday. What is the ramification if, in fact, the White House was working with Fani Willis on this?
Well, I think there'd be great ramifications there, especially with her case, because part of the key evidence that she's bringing up is this phone call between Donald Trump and Brad Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, that they're claiming he put undue influence on an elected official to do something that they're claiming was illegal. But at the same time, if this is true, I think that's very damning, because now you've got a sitting president calling a district attorney, putting political pressure on her to do something. And so I think that could really start unraveling this case for them.
Fox News polls reveals 80% of voters believe that the economy is in fair or poor condition. Only 20% would describe the economy as excellent or good. More than half say that President Biden has made the economy worse since taking office, Congressman. Let's talk issues for a moment, because this upcoming election is...
Why F Extra Life really sucks.
Eventually, oh, the player is entirely gone, pushed off the page.
Oh wow.
But the iframe element still exists. If I'm one of those kinds of users who wants to browse this page at a certain...
Bro, you know this guy's about to cook. You know he's about to cook whenever he's got inspect element up and he's looking at the fucking HTML. Yeah, he's about to fucking cook. And I know where he's gonna go.
Size.
It's gonna be the ratio,
because I'm making
right?
more real estate on my monitor. Someone on their Twitch channel is getting a view when I'm not observing the fact that there's a Twitch player at all. How interesting.
Yeah.
This guy posting complaints about view botting.
I'm a web developer.
By posting clips from someone else's video.
Yeah, and he's in chat. So you're a web developer, you inspected Element, you looked at the pixel ratio, and then you compared it to what Twitch usually says that you have to do, right? I feel like that's what you had to do.
With absolutely zero content added.
Here we go.
It's
yes.
exactly
all right,
340 by 400 on their wiki pages, and the frame you're pointing to is at 300 wide, at least in this offline mode, not 280. 280 is the width of the text box in the player. You think that they're exploiting advertisers under assumptions that they are as incompetent as you are. Okay, let's talk about it. Embedding Twitch on your website.
Here we go. All right. Here we go.
In the rules, it explains that embeds must adhere to the recommended minimum height and width requirements outlined in their respective attribute tables.
All right.
Let's look at those attribute tables.
Here we go. Oh, shit.
In the height, minimum of 400
this one's
pixels
height right here.
And a minimum of 340 width.
So it has to be 400 by 340.
Let's take a look at that. I've taken some screenshots that have been shared in the description of my other video that these people have commented on. But I'm going to make a follow-up video that has my actual voice in it, because apparently showing a few screenshots wasn't good enough.
Right.
Fair enough. Let's talk about it. Here is the player that's such a huge value add to advertisers.
And you can see it's not there.
You have to scroll down here. You find it here. Let's look at the iframe itself in the inspector. We'll go to the iframe element since that's what you specifically want, even though what actually matters here is look how small this is with some added padding. But I want to see the actual iframe. Okay, here, let's find the iframe for you. 340 by 398. Is that a 400 height?
No,
I think that's
not.
2 pixels short of the minimum. What's going on there? The kicker for me is that when you're on a desktop or laptop, these are autoplay by default.
That's
and
true.
To be fair, autoplay, if true, video starts playing automatically without the user clicking play. The exception is mobile devices on which video cannot be played without user interaction. The default is true. Okay, fine. It's working as intended.
Okay.
But what happens when you're dealing with responsive websites where at certain breakpoints of width, you're creating things that are designed for a tablet or a mobile device. We slowly start pushing the video off screen. Where did it go? Let's look for it.
It's gonna be at the bottom. How convenient.
Ah, all the way down here in the prime location for advertisers. Yes, certainly. It's nothing to do with the fact that now that we're in tablet or mobile device mode, we no longer care about giving the prime location to our advertisers.
True.
Because if we wanted to do what we said in our little announcement about how we want to promote Twitch and do all right by Twitch, why would we put the player all the way at the bottom? Let's take a look at the wiki page. Here it is on the wiki.
All right.
So to be fair, it becomes a sticky element as you scroll farther.
Okay.
But what happens when you start thinking about responsiveness and shrinking it down towards tablet and mobile? Eventually,
it gets pushed off.
We're not even at the tablet size, and for some reason, the player is entirely gone.
Wait, what? Well, then where'd it go?
Pushed off the page, but the iframe element still exists. If I'm one of those kinds of users who wants to browse this page at a certain size because I'm making more real estate on my monitor.
Oh my god.
Someone
it just gets hidden
on their Twitch channel is getting a view when I'm not observing the fact that there's a Twitch player at all.
So you wouldn't even see it.
How interesting. Furthermore,
how interesting, yeah.
On their wiki, it's even worse.
Oh.
We're talking about a minimum height.
Oh. I love this video. This is such a great video.
Of 400. When we go to the iframe element itself and check the box model, we're at 169.
Wow. 169. Nobody's typing minus in there because the math is too hard.
Why don't you just add the chat back in? Since you're so keen on having this good faith
That's how
with
big
Twitch
the number
about how
is.
we're going to drive our users over to the Twitch ecosystem. That's
Over
what we're
half.
trying to do here, is we're trying to legitimize ourselves as a website. We don't have a big team. We can't compete with other people. Yeah, so you built this crappy WordPress site, and you took no account for what the documentation outlines are the required minimums for the design of their Twitch embed player that you're taking advantage of. You're a joke. God. So if you're interested in watching a real Twitch streamer who doesn't do embedding, check out this channel right here, the Dapper Foxtrot. It's super great. Except there's not a whole lot of people watching right now, but maybe that could be you.
You know what?
That's what we're
Hey, even if you don't want to follow him, you can at least agree he's probably better than them, right? Affects your life. I'll link you guys this video. This is fucking great. Oh, this is good. Cause like I knew, bro, as soon as he had inspect element out and he was like, oh, it's not on there. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely, this shit was gonna happen, man. Oh, this was so good. The guy I followed, yeah, I'll give him a sub and a like, man. Holy shit. That is fucking funny, man. I think the reason why it's still going on, and this is what really happens, is that the reason why people are still talking about it is because they tried to defend themselves. They should have never done that. They should have been like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. But, like, don't go and fucking pretend like, oh, no, what we're doing is actually totally okay, and everybody else is just out to get us, and it's all just a malicious bullying effort, and, oh, we're doing everything right. We're trying to help Twitch. We're trying to make the game better and make video games better, and we're just a small team, and we're people, too, you know? Like, you can't do that to us. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, this is another example. Immortals of Avenum peaks at 751 Steam players despite huge streamer push. Let's see how many people actually streamed it. Pull this up. Oh wow, yeah, a lot of people apparently got sponsored to stream this game. If this is an average, right? Peak viewers, 220,000 people playing this game. Holy shit. That's incredible. More viewers than players. Yes, apparently. And it's not really a big surprise. While this year has been some of the best video game releases in a decade, there are a few bombs. And the first one appears to be Immortals of Avenum, that has peaked at 751. Ooh, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Oh, wow. That's not too good at all, is it? That's the peak. Bro, at this very moment, there's 142 people playing the game. Oh my God. Did they sponsor F Extra Life? They did? Oh my God. Oh, that's so fucking funny. Well, there you go. They sponsored. It's exactly what I fucking said was going to happen. Exactly what I fucking said. Dude, it's actually crazy how fast it happened. Scammed lol W, scammed EZ. Oh my God. Wow, inaccurate. Most people play the game through EA client. So what you're saying is like maybe there's like 200 people playing? Actually, most people. So maybe there's like 400 people playing the game right now. Maybe like 400, maybe 1,000. Oh, yeah. Maybe you're right. Let's see this here. Immortals of Avenum is a full $60 on-release game. Big barrier when sandwiched between the likes of Baldur's Gate 3, Armored Core 6, and the upcoming Starfield. A 66 Metascore on PC, 70 on PS5, does get up to 82 on Xbox Series X. To me, this shows the limits of Dude, I am so fucking happy to read this because I said this shit was gonna happen, and within like 2 days, 2 fucking days of me saying this, and it's happening, it's right there. Oh my God, I feel so good right now. I am fucking vindicated. I'm trying to remember the last time that shit turned over this fast. Oh my God. I think Lyric and were sponsored too? Yeah, but I bet a lot of the money went to somebody with 30K average viewers. God damn, I feel good. God damn. They should have just taken all this money and given it to me. I'd have done a better job with it, probably. But, you know, it's hard not to whenever you have more than maybe a dozen real viewers. I mean, damn. I think the release is a little unlucky, too. No, I don't think that's the problem. If people like the game, they'd play it. Yeah, the release is not ideal, but there were 120,000 people watching the game. Why aren't there 120,000 people watching it right now? Where is it right now? Let's take a look. Let's see what we got going on right here. Let's see. Immortals of Avenum. I'll just scroll all the way down and then Control F. There's no way it's got less than this, right? 85 viewers. Oh my God. Guys, I think the game is dead. It's a dead game. 85. Bro, it went from 122,000. Or sorry, 222,000. Let me just, I want to, oh man. Okay. I mean, that's just, wow. Just put that in perspective. 85. Oh my God. Percentage drop? I don't know, like 99.9%? That's just, it's insane. Holy shit. And so this is what they're saying. To me, this shows the limits of a streamer-based ad campaign. This has been an absolute flood of sponsored streams, which no doubt cost EA a pretty penny. It did. You can just keep scrolling and scrolling on Twitter and see an endless list of these sponsorships, but now that most have ended on Twitch, Immortals of Avenum currently has 374 viewers, so it's gone down since this article. Effectively, none of these streamers, those streamers, graduated from paid sponsorships to actually playing the game of their own volition. I wonder what happens to Ascendant Studios from here, as this is not a good debut. I doubt EA sponsorship would continue after this. Yeah. You make a shit game, and people don't want to pay you for it. That's just the way it goes. Yeah, same on YouTube too, exactly. And yeah, GG EA sponsorships. Now, let me, they were sponsoring 4-hour blocks. Oh my God. 4 hours? Well, I hope they got their money's worth. Oh, wow. Okay, look. Here's really what's going on here. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can bring all the players you want over to a game, but if the game sucks, they're going to leave. That's the problem. So, for example, there are sponsors. I think that a really great example of this is the Marvel Avengers game. Do you guys remember the Marvel's Avenger game? The one that came out like a year and a half ago, and all the streamers played it, and they were sponsored for it and everything like that. And then guess what happens? Nobody played the fucking game. That's just what happens. Yes. Yep. Like every streamer. Yeah. Everybody. I didn't. They should have sponsored me. Bro, like if they had sponsored me, it would have been different. Okay. But like Artifact, yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, it just didn't work out that well, right? Because the game's bad. I don't know if it was bad or not. I have no idea if the game was bad or not. But what I'm saying is that streamers are not a... You can't just like, and also like streamers... I'm gonna go off a little bit here, okay? I think most streamers don't know how to sell a product at all. They don't know how to look at the positives. They don't know how to see it from the viewer perspective. They are taking the sponsor because they think it's a good game, not because of anything else. And that's really the issue. Usually, almost all the sponsors that I take, ironically, besides Honkai Star Rail, I know a good amount about the game before I take the sponsor. I thought Honkai Star Rail was Honkai Third Impact. I literally thought it was an expansion. I had no fucking idea. So then I was like, yeah, sure, I'll play this. Why not? I mean, it's easy. It's going to be like Tower Fantasy, right? Like, Tower Fantasy stole everything from this game. This game might be good, right? No. It's completely fucking different. Yeah, how do you sell a sponsor then? You play the game in an authentic way, and also you take sponsors that are authentic to your audience, right? Things that people like. For example, like the Marvel Snap thing that I was doing, right? I'm going to be doing today, right? This is a game that doesn't have a lot of gotcha and like weird stuff like that. And I was like, hey, this is actually pretty cool, and this can be an interesting selling point for my game. Does that make sense? The gotcha game's the exception? Yeah, exactly. Paid segment? Yeah, sure. You making a game? Oh, I should, right? Yeah, paid actor, by the way. Paid response. Wait, what? It's a great game. Yeah, people have actually said positive things about it. Yeah, Ben Brode made the game, etc. And you know, I think people like Blizzard, and so people like Ben Brode from Hearthstone. So yeah, sure, I'd try it out. But the issue is that, like with a lot of people, they'll just take whatever they get. And I think this is especially true with like phone games, because there's a lot of phone games that are just like Raid Shadow Legends, stuff like this. And it's not really a bad thing to take a sponsorship from something like that. It's not really a big deal. But unless you actually have like an interest in playing the game, or you have any sort of like care, and I think even if you don't play it beyond the sponsor, that's totally fine. But if you show your audience of 10,000 people, 20,000 people the game, and then they don't start playing the game, I think that's mostly the game's fault. It's a bit the streamer's fault. Yeah, sure, you could have sold it better and found a better way to present the game. Absolutely. But it's mostly the game's fault, because the game just isn't very good. Does that make sense? I think streamers can make a good game popular, but not a bad... Yes, streamers can make a good game popular. Streamers cannot make a bad game popular. That's just how it is. FX Drive will save the Avenum game? Yeah, exactly. To qualify your audience first as a product, a huge misstep for many creators. Yeah. For example, Armored Core didn't sponsor that many people and it's still doing well. Yeah. Like, for example, like Halls of Torment. Like, whenever I played Halls of Torment, a lot of people saw that and then they started playing the game. That's just the way it goes. But I've played other games and that didn't happen because those games didn't have that same type of appeal. That's just how it goes. So, like, if I can find a game, or I think a game will be popular and it will do well, then that's great. But it doesn't mean that, like, every single game is just going to be successful because you pay streamers to do it. I think that's what it comes down to. I disagree to some extent. Streamers made Rust popular, and it's pretty bad. You think Rust is bad? I don't think Rust is bad. I think Rust is an amazing game. And if Rust wasn't such an amazing game, then you wouldn't have so many million-plus video views on YouTube for it. Like, Rust is an incredible fucking game. I don't know how you can think it's bad. Like BDO, yeah, exactly. BDO, same thing, etc. And I also think that streaming actually didn't really make Rust popular. I think that what really made Rust popular is YouTube. Because Rust doesn't lend itself very well to streaming in general. And the reason why it doesn't lend itself very well to streaming is because it's like, for example, like how many Rust videos are, okay, man, so I got outside of the, I got outside of this guy's base and I was waiting outside his base for 8 hours. And then it goes like, okay, cut, that's it, next. And now it's 8 hours later. Rust actual gameplay is boring as fuck. Well, a lot of people play Rust. Like if I go and I look at Rust right here, let's see, Rust. It's got almost 100,000 player peak. Completely consistent game. The game has actually grown overall with peaks above where it was at in 2021. I think this was probably, this was during the first Rust Twitch event. And then no other Twitch event after that did even remotely close to that. And I think that Rust Twitch event did overall increase the game. As you can see here, like you just look at the graph and the graph shows that. But look at this. I feel like, yeah. Overwatch 2 are popular games. You can say those are good games. I mean, yeah, but still. Oh, Diablo 4 is a great game for casual players. WoW is a great game. Overwatch is a great game. It's just the problem is not that Overwatch is a bad game. The problem is Overwatch could be an incredible game with a 10-year life cycle, but Blizzard just decided to pull the plug and give up on it. There are plenty of people that play Overwatch. Like, there aren't a lot as many on Steam, right? But, like, people that play Overwatch have played Overwatch for the last 5 years. They're playing it on Battle.net, not Steam. Let's be honest. And Diablo 4 is bad even for casuals? Well, I don't know. I think Diablo 4 probably... I mean, like, they're already doing... I saw this today. I don't know if this is desperation or not. Let me see if I can pull it up. Fuck. Oh, yeah, here we go. Only a fool refuses her bounty. Enjoy Mother's Blessing on Diablo 4 this weekend for 25% bonus experience and gold. So there you go. Diablo 4 is already adding in the first weekend event, or I don't know if this is like a seasonal event, I have no idea, September 1st to September 5th. And they're already adding in bonus events to get people to come back and play the season again. Isn't that crazy? And that's going to be during the early access of Starfield, too. Because, like, Starfield comes out on the 1st of September as well. I sure hope they can fix the game with Diablo 5. The biggest MMO scam ever. Ever.
The arrival of Kickstarter and the unfulfilled desire for exciting new MMOs combined with Unreal Engine's capability to make absolutely anything look beautiful was the perfect formula for the introduction of MMO scams into the world.
Absolutely.
Today we're going to talk about the 5 most interesting MMO scams to exist so far. We'll talk about how they came to be, and perhaps most important...
Can you imagine if this guy put Ashes of Creation on the list? Oh my god, people would lose their fucking minds.
Where they are now, was it malice or ignorance that led to millions of dollars disappearing while having nothing to show for it? Which ones went to jail and which ones got away with it?
Probably
and
all
were
of them
we
got away with
wrong
it.
about any of them? Let's find out. First up, Chronicles of Illyria. This was another fascinating one to follow, with a story that's going to start to sound very familiar as we go through this list. It all starts on Kickstarter, led by a man named Jeremy Walsh. Was it malice or ineptitude that caused this to play out the way that it did? Let me know down in the comments what you think. It all starts on September 18th, 2015. The first screenshot was shared on the company's Twitter feed. Remember what this looks like. It's going to be important because this is
hand size? Who the fuck wants hand size? Foot size?
It's not what was delivered. Then, ironically, on April 1st, 2016, the first gameplay footage is shown in a video titled Meet the Team. Again, remember what this footage looks like.
Yeah, this is this footage is from Elder Scrolls 3, I think. It was Morrowind.
On May 3rd, 2016, Soulbound Studios
ago.
announces its long-awaited Kickstarter campaign asking for just $900,000 and promising
small loan
this.
of $900,000.
Aging, Dying, and Souls, an epic 10-year storyline invites you to experience your character over multiple lifetimes. With each life, you will develop your character and make your mark in the Chronicle.
Bro, that sounds
When your
morbid as
character
fuck.
eventually dies, their soul will be reincarnated stronger than
I
before.
don't want to do that.
And their
That's
spirit
weird.
and destiny will live on in another character of your making.
What
the
the
game being
fuck?
described was on a scale never before seen. It was going to have every system and feature that you've ever wanted all rolled into one
Yeah,
map.
I mean, that's just like the best idea, right? Because like, why have only some good systems? Let's just have every good system, and that way we'll just make everybody happy and it'll be perfect.
Massive MMORPG, or at least that's what they told us.
Of course.
And apparently it worked. Just 1 month later, on June 3rd, 2016, they hit their Kickstarter goal,
They
with
have.
4 people going as far as donating $10,000 each so that they would be considered royalty in the game. At the
Oh god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Who would do that? Oh man. Like, it's like we can call these people dumb, right? But like, there's plenty of people that spend this kind of money on gacha games too, so it's like really not that big of a surprise. Like, I think that's kind of just like normal. Established titles, yeah, but that wasn't as much money, to be fair.
this point in 2016, Soulbound Studios claimed they would have the game in players' hands in just over 18 months. Not
In 18 months? Wasn't this like 4 years ago?
finished, but at least in a playable state. After raising $1 million on Kickstarter, Jeremy announced the game would continue to raise money on its own personal website.
That makes
and
sense.
raise money it did, to the tune of over $8 million. As the deadline for the game...
Bro, I need to make an MMO. I need to do this. This is such a good idea. Like, that's such a good idea. And then you just take everybody's money, and then you disappear. And you don't make the game. That's like the... Or maybe you could make the game, but it's really bad, and you actually spend like $1 million making the game, and you pocket the other $7 million.
Game approached in 2017, Jeremy announced that the game isn't going to meet the deadline he had promised due to their inability to attract talented developers.
Yeah.
The first sign that
I
things
wonder why.
really weren't going well. Fast forward to 2018, when everyone was originally expecting the game to be
Look
in a
at that
playable
gameplay.
fast forward to
Look at this.
2018, when everyone was originally expecting
One more,
wow.
one more.
Fast forward to 2018, when everyone was originally expecting the game to be in a playable state, and it was not. In
Yeah.
fact, no one had any proof that there was a playable game at all. No member of the public had played a single minute of it. Later in that year, November 2018, with over $6 million in funding secured, people were beginning to worry about the future of the game. They
Yeah.
noticed it had been nearly 2 years since they saw
Wow, look at that. Is this RuneScape 3? I never even saw the game. I've only watched OSRS. So I've never seen... So this is RuneScape 3. Holy fuck. Wow, it does look a little bit better, huh?
any new footage of the game. Surely, with millions of dollars and years of work put into the game, there must be something impressive to show. Almost another...
Well, they have the belt. Look, they literally have the guy's... What the hell happened to the back of his head? What the hell is this?
Another year passes by, and on September 6, 2019, the first gameplay footage since 2017 is released.
Wait,
Remember
wait,
when
wait,
I
1
seen
second.
the first gameplay? Footage since 2017 is released. Remember when I told you to remember what the original gameplay footage would look like? This is what backers thought they were getting. No, it's what they were told they were getting. And this is what they got.
Oh my god.
To say that fans were disappointed would be an understatement of a lifetime. The game was now 2 years past its initial planned delivery date and 8 times over budget, and this was all they had to show for it. This was the result of 4 years of development.
Dude, imagine watching the Unreal 5 tech demo and then thinking, bro, I donated $10,000. I can't wait to have my own castle and have it look like this. And the game comes out. And then it's this.
And millions of dollars of backer
I'm a
money.
founder,
it's
guys.
Here where most of the backers soured on the game, some going as far as to threaten legal action against Soulbound. On March 11th, 2020, the Settlers of Illyria event would...
They should have a cosmetic for the founders, and it's one of those hats with a propeller on it. It says royalty on it.
Take place as a pre-free alpha event to allow participation in a 45-day test of the game.
Clown mask,
Of course, this pre-free alpha test included massive microtransactions to allow players to spend hundreds or even pre-free alpha tests included massive microtransactions to allow players to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars buying plots of land within this unfinished game.
There you go. Buying land in an unfinished game. You know, people used to do this. They would sell land in Florida, and they had to make a law against selling land on the moon because they kept doing this in real life, too. Like, most online scams were real-life scams until somebody made a law against it.
If they wanted. Amazing. It was a disaster. Players were not happy, and now with a much more realistic idea of what this game was going to be, the funding for the game stopped coming in. In an event that was only surprising to the backers with their heads 6 feet under the sand, on March 25th, 2020, Soulbound announced the studio would be shuttering. On April...
But to our great sadness, with the failure of Settlers of Elria and 5 long months of only limited crowdfunding revenue coming in, Soulbound Studios has officially run out of money. Last night, I was forced to do something that I never thought I would have to do. I closed the online store, put Settlers of Elria map back into read-only mode, and laid off all the employees. And after that, I booked my trip over to Cancun with my $8 million, and I'm on to the next stage of my life.
6, 2020, however, there was an about face due to the threat of legal consequences. An FAQ appeared on the COE website stating that the game would very much be released and that they did not mean to imply it was shutting down. This was likely for legal reasons, as they had promised to deliver a game in exchange for the money they'd collected. To simply state that the game wasn't coming without refunding any of the money could leave them vulnerable to some legal action.
That's true. So they have to technically make a game. Now, is the game going to be any good? No. But it will be a game. It could be Tetris or Minesweeper, but it is a game.
With angry backers undeterred by this promise, on August 17th, 2020, a class action lawsuit was filed demanding that Soulbound refund the money for the game that they failed to deliver.
Absolutely.
Soulbound would decline the demands to refund the backers, so on...
No refunds. No refunds, gentlemen.
February 3rd, 2021, the case was legally filed with the court. Around the same time, Illyria was posting a couple of videos a month about the progress of the game, probably to appear as though they were still working on it. So where's the game now, 2 years after all of that? And how did the lawsuit end? Was justice served? Was the people's money returned? Was anyone held accountable for the complete mismanagement of the funds?
No.
Well, I wish I could say that the court laid the law down on this man in this practice of taking people's money without the realistic possibility of being able to deliver what was promised. I wish the court case had sent a signal to would-be Kickstarter scammers, but unfortunately the lawsuit was dismissed and Walsh escaped with everything except for his reputation. He's now...
Oh, he only has $8 million. Oh, bro, like,
working on a completely different game and a completely different engine known as Kingdoms of Illyria. My guess is this game has as much of a chance of turning into a polished finished product as Kingdoms of Illyria. He's now working on a completely different game and a completely different engine known as Kingdoms of Illyria.
I honestly think that you shouldn't be able to sue him the second time. You should have been able to sue him the first time, But like at a certain point, like how much due diligence does somebody have to do before they just decide to light their own game on fire, or light their own money on fire?
My guess is this game has as much of a chance of turning into a polished, finished product as Chronicles of Illyria. Whatever you do, don't give Jeremy Walsh another dime of your money for a game that isn't yet complete, because it's probable he's selling you a bridge to nowhere. I'm not saying don't buy his game when it's finished. I'm just saying don't buy
Well, I would assume that whenever it's finished, it's not really finished. They're just selling it. Yeah, so I mean, they're not. It's not the finished game. They're just selling the game now.
his game until it's finished, which is actually fantastic advice for any of the games on this list today. Next up, we have The Day Before. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Crasher Nirvana is an amazing martial arts fantasy MMORPG mobile game that was just released. In this game, you will play as a warrior and experience a vast open world with immersive graphics. There are
how does a mobile game have this, but the Chronicles of Illyria couldn't figure it out for the PC? How's that possible? Like, you guys ever think about this for like 3 seconds? Like, how is it possible we got a mobile game looks like this, but the PC games look like shit? Like, what happened?
7 classes and roles within the game, each with specific skills, weapons, and appearances. In the exploration of the vast open world, you can fight with monsters and bosses in different maps and scenes to acquire materials to learn martial arts, upgrade your weapons, and practice your successive attack skills. If you get bored with your first character, you're free to change your profession. Not only that,
looks better combat than Wulong.
You can also turn into a demon. A demonized player has a completely different appearance along with more powerful abilities. In the process of completing tasks, you will encounter a variety of NPCs and constantly delve into the character's storyline. The game also features a deep PvP and guild vs guild system where you can team up with friends to fight together and challenge yourself with more special side stories. The game
I love how like a lot of these mobile games just invent these numbers. Like, what's your power level? 136 million. Oh, so it's pretty low then. You know, most normal players are up to 1 billion now.
Also adds an intriguing social system that allows players who prefer interpersonal relationships to quickly make friends, find love, and get married to other players in-game. So be sure to check out this unique
that escalated quickly
within a gorgeous and mysterious setting. Log into the game now and get 200 consecutive draws for free. It's highly possible for you to get rare drops, pets, and skins, so download it now using the link in the description below and use my code GIFT2023 for epic rewards. Thank you for listening, and now let's get back to the video. This is the most recent possible scam to be added to this list, and I say possible scam because it's not really confirmed yet.
I do not think that I have seen sufficient evidence that The Day Before is a scam. I actually don't think so.
This story starts in January of 2021 when a developer known as Fantastic dropped the trailer for their upcoming title, The Day Before. It was announced as an open-world survival MMO set in a deadly post-pandemic America that has been overrun by flesh-hungry infected. It caught massive attention. The public was incredibly excited for this idea.
Oh, yeah.
So they announced that on March 31st, 2021, they would...
People have always wanted a survival shooter, like MMO FPS game. And people have wanted this ever since like the 2000s. And there were a couple of attempts at it. Like right now we have Destiny. I think that's probably the biggest game like that. But besides that, you've also got fucking, what's that other game? Planet Side 2. Yeah, there it is. The Division, yeah, a few more. But, like, nothing has, like, really hit. Holy shit. Oh, yo, what's up, boys? Thank you, Shy Lily, for the raid. Thank you very much. Oh, my God, wow. Thank you, guys. We're watching a video about games that are fucking scams. Or at least they might be scams.
Show everyone some gameplay footage. The day before it was set to air on March 30th, they ended up delaying the trailer a week due to technical problems. The new airing date would be a week later, April 6th, 9 a.m. And so on April 6th, everyone tuned in and were met with a starting soon screen. They would watch this screen for over 9 hours until the stream was finally shut down. So on April 6th, everyone tuned in and were met with a starting soon screen. They would watch this screen for over 9 hours until the stream was finally shut down.
Bro, that reminds me of that girl. Oh my fucking God, that girl, Taylor, fucking, she has like a French last name or something like that, and she would just stand off the camera. Oh, rockin', yes.
April 9th, 2021, 13 minutes of gameplay was finally revealed. The 13 minutes of gameplay looked great as far as everyone could tell. It would look so great that the game would become the most wishlisted game on Steam, over top of games from AAA studios like Spider-Man, Stalker 2, and even Bethesda's Starfield. This caught people's attention. Fantastic accomplished this without having a great track record to stand on. Looking back at their history, they sold early access to their game called Wild 8 and then almost immediately abandoned it.
Ooh, not good.
They moved on to a game called Dead Dozen, which had even more problems. It went into early access and shut down completely 3 months later.
This one's gonna be different.
Things kept getting weirder though.
Yeah, this one will be different.
The trailer looked too good to be true, literally. Developers would even react to the video, stating that at the very least this looked like a vertical slice of the game that they had just created for the purposes of marketing it.
Is this in game?
I remember the character in the cinematic. We watched the video, and the girl was wearing like really tight pants, and she had a big ass, and nobody was even paying attention to the gameplay at all. Like, it was like a 17-minute video, and people were like, yeah, I don't know about this game. I don't know. Maybe if they release gameplay for it, I'll have to watch it. And it's like, you just watched a 17-minute video of gameplay. We're like, no, I didn't.
Day before.
It is.
Oh my.
I'm getting very The Division vibes from this.
Wow, the shadows are incredible. The lighting is just excellent.
Told you,
Look at
show
this.
reflections.
Oh man.
In an MMO though, I'm skeptical.
How can they do that? I'm getting a feeling this has all been rendered. This is not.
I think it's more of a vertical slice on first impression.
Yeah.
A vertical slice, if you don't know, is this doesn't mean that the whole game is done and it looks like this. This is probably a section that they popped out, and we're able to develop and carve out and make certain things look final when they're not. That's what happened with Watch Dogs. That's what happened with Cyberpunk for a lot.
So it's kind of like whenever you take a picture, or like you clean up your room, and then you throw all of the stuff behind the door and hope your mom doesn't close the door and see what's behind the door. Yeah.
Out of it, so I'm a little skeptical.
Are about to get heated.
Over here.
Here's the thing, and this is why I think it's pre-baked.
Yeah.
See, that's supposed to be another player.
Right.
Can we go back? See the way they come in? It looks like it's an animated character that's not another player, but that means that those can't actually be other players.
It could be. It could very well be. They have their own, AI players. They
to move like that, they would have to be AI, because if it
Right.
was a real player, the animation wouldn't be that smooth. When you actually play a game, you're kind of jittery.
This by its...
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't find that to be very strong evidence, though. I think that the other examples, and just like kind of like a logic example, yeah, number one, not necessarily. Number two, it could be another player, but they're moving in that specific way, so it looks good for the video. Number three, it could be an AI-generated, like fucking like NPC, which I also think is fine. Like, there are many other examples where I think this was not really that big of a deal.
Itself wasn't totally unheard of, but with this studio's history in mind, it starts to cast doubt on the viability of the game being delivered as promised. Things would continue to get weirder when Fantastic used a bait and switch tactic on their fans, pretending a big new announcement was coming for the day before. And then when the announcement arrived, it was actually for a completely different game? Essentially using their clout they had gained for the hype around the day before to advertise and launch another game they were working on, called Prop Night. People weren't happy about it at all, but it was somewhat smoothed over when the studio also provided a launch day of June 21,
To be fair, their recent reviews are mostly positive.
2022. At that time, that meant the game was just over 8 months away, so people were pretty excited. Fast forward to May 3rd, a little over a month before the game's scheduled launch date, Fantastic posted an announcement letting the community know that they would be giving a big update about the game that week. And what was the big update they hyped up? The big update they got that week was that they were delaying the launch of the game another 9 months, into March of 20.
Oh, March? The release date of the game will be March 1st, 2023. Wait. Did we miss it? Oh my, how did we miss this? Oh, fuck, guys. We missed the launch. Fuck.
2023. The reason for the delay? Well, there was such massive interest in the game that they wanted to spend more time making sure they got it right. Honestly, for a studio that had never seen this kind of interest, to look at its project landing at the top of the Steam wishlist and decide, hey, we better spend the time to get this right. Well, it isn't all that surprising.
that's
Among
smart.
the changes that would be made,
If I were them, I would do the same thing. Because if this game comes out and it's bad, it's a bad game. That's it, period, for forever, that it's done. Like Cyberpunk, like BFA, like mini games. Like, yeah, if it comes out, it's bad, it's bad.
they would be switching the game over from UE4 to UE5. This also isn't surprising, as we've seen multiple studios make the same move around the same time. So far, we have a lot of red flags that could be genuine mistakes or intentional deception, but there wasn't anything you could point at and say, these guys are definitely acting in bad faith. That was until they later posted a video asking for people to work on their game for free as volunteers. Naturally, alarm bells were really sounding.
I mean, as a Twitch streamer, I mean, this is kind of like normal.
Now, it was weird that the studio was promising to deliver a game far, far beyond anything they'd ever created before. A game massive AAA studios are afraid to attempt because of the budget it demands. But people were willing to give them the benefit of the doubt until they had a reason not to. And for a lot of people, this was that reason. How are you going to make a game that by its very nature required a AAA budget, all while using...
Well, you just make all the people that were working for it work for free. I mean, it's actually kind of an ingenious solution. Because so you have this problem where it's like, oh, fuck. Like, we have to pay all these people. Well, what are we going to do? And somebody smart in the office is like, what if we just don't pay them? What if we just tell them that we're not going to pay them and that's it? And I'm like, do you think that's going to work? Apparently.
Paid volunteers. What kind of quality would that provide? And what kind of a studio do you have to be to even be willing to publicly ask for such things? If things weren't bizarre enough...
I don't know. I can commend somebody for just being that ballsy.
On January 4th, 2023, Fantastic released another video on their YouTube that was a poorly hidden ad for another product they were developing.
Ooh,
some kind of office app.
see.
The whole thing was pretending to be talking about the studio and its development of the day before, but actually it just felt like you were watching a really weird ad for some product. And that's because you were. They had now used their attention that they garnered for the day before to launch 2 other projects that were not the day before. And they had also tried to get people to work on their game for free, while also delaying the release date of the game twice. The longer the story goes on, the more the red flags pile up. And people noticed. They ended up having to turn off the comments and likes and dislikes on videos to hide the ire of the community. On the bright side, the game was going to be launching in just 3 months.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
Fantastic's chance to
I mean, it came
vindicate
out 10 days
themselves
ago.
was fast approaching. That is,
So
until
who's
it
mad?
wasn't. On January 24th, 2023, the most wishlisted game on Steam was removed from Steam. In another twist, Fantastic would go on to say that it was a bug that caused it to be removed from the Steam store. But then Fantastic would later that same day post a separate post that contradicted that, saying 5 days earlier they found out that someone owned the rights to the name the day before. Unfortunately for Fantastic, this also was a provable lie, as there was evidence that they had received word their trademark for the name had been rejected months prior. 2 different posts with 2 different lies in the same day from these guys didn't do a lot to maintain and restore the faith of the people excited for the day before. With the game not even out yet, all of the red flags, and now a trail of lies leaking out of the studio, things were getting weirder than ever. People were beginning to worry if this was even a real game at all. The only trailer they'd seen seemed to have been at best a vertical slice of the game, or at worst entirely pre-rendered. But that was all going to be a problem of the past though, as Fantastic was due to show their gameplay trailer featuring real gameplay this time.
That's true. Yeah, so like they're gonna fix it so it's not really a big deal. Like all the haters are just gonna get owned, and they're just gonna set the record straight and put them all to sleep.
At the last second, they canceled, stating that they needed to talk to their lawyers about their name being taken before releasing the trailer.
All right, never mind.
The bad news
Never
didn't
mind,
stop
guys.
there.
Never
The
mind.
trailer wasn't the only thing to be delayed. The game's launch was also going to be delayed again for another 6 months to November of 2023. The internet was now crying scam. Everyone was beginning to think this game didn't exist. In response, Fantastic would turn around shortly thereafter and drop the game.
And they would say that it's not a in fact, guys, I know that there have been some of you out there who think that our game is a scam. It is in fact not a scam. There's no need to worry. I know some people might think that it is a scam. It's not a scam. Okay, yeah. Yeah, never mind.
Play trailer for the game. As expected, it didn't look nearly as good as the highly touched up trailer that came before it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the fact that it looked worse now wasn't surprising and isn't all that uncommon in the industry. They tend to show very early on a concept of what they are aiming to make that ends up being far more attractive than what they're actually able to deliver on down the road. We've seen a lot of AAA studios make this mistake in the past and then get rightfully called out on it by their communities afterwards.
That looks pretty
good.
good.
What was odd about this trailer was that the 10 minutes or so of gameplay showed a massive world that felt far from finished.
World.
It was devoid of action, a lot of walking, and not a lot going on, particularly for a game that was originally supposed to release a year ago. On top of that, viewers would also immediately notice that many of the assets in the game were purchased straight off of the Unreal Engine shop and set into the game nearly untouched. And then finally, to make things even weirder, the trailer even had sections that were an exact copy of other game trailers. In fact, it wasn't just trailers that were copies of other games. Even the game's logo was a copy of another game's logo. And so was its art.
I mean, the thing is, well, you take everything that people have already done because you know that works. I mean, you know it works, and so you might as well just keep doing it.
It may still launch, but we would have to be ignoring an absolute ton of red flags to say with any level of confidence that the launch will go well. If it does end up being a scam, it will have been an impressive one, as it will be the first scam MMO to have achieved the status of most wishlisted game on Steam. I hope they prove—
I don't think it's a scam. I actually do not think that the day before is a scam. The reason why I don't think that it's a scam is because they're not asking for money. Like, who are they scamming? They're scamming the publisher. The publisher for this game is a literal, like, multi-hundreds of millions of dollars company that has gone on record and said that they have reviewed the game and it's actually a game and it's actually happening. So unless you think that you as a Redditor, YouTube commenter, YouTube viewer have a better insight into this than the fucking multi-$100+ million company that is producing this game, come on. Maybe they're just fucking dumb. Scamming my time by watching a 10-minute trailer? Yeah, I just don't think it's a scam. It's not a scam, it's a shit game? Yes, I think so. Multi-$100 company? Yeah, sorry, I was for a second there I thought I was talking about Blizzard. It could just be a marketing scheme. I doubt that a massive publisher, like the one that's publishing this game, I forgot the name, would want to attach themselves to something that's as problematic as this. There's no reason to. And also the publisher is mainly a mobile game publisher, which means that, like, reputation doesn't matter as much, but it still does matter because you have to have people that buy into the gotcha of, like, the next game. Phase drama? Oh, is there phase drama? I don't know.
All of the doubters wrong, but as of right now, history would suggest this game will be sold in early access before dropping in a state that is completely unfit for release, ultimately being abandoned by the developer yet again. Where is the game today? 2 launch delays later and 6 months before its newest scheduled release date.
2 launch delays so far. Okay. Keep that in mind.
Well, on February 16th, 2023, The developer released a devlog where they talked about the journey of the game so far.
Oh,
the
this is about
website
how
is
they're
still
gonna
up,
make it.
but if you click add to wish list, it just takes you to the front page of Steam because you can't actually add it to your wish list because the game doesn't exist on Steam anymore. This game hasn't stolen anyone's money yet, so
That's
it's not
right.
a scam yet, but the developers have been caught lying. They've been caught copying other developers' work. They've promised the moon, and they have a history of selling unfinished games and then walking away from them. Hopefully Fantastic keeps delaying their game until it's finished, but I wouldn't spend any money on this one until it's proven to be a finished, playable product. There's just way too many red flags at this point.
If you want to be kept up to date on how this all unfolds, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification button.
I don't know why it got
and maybe
taken off
even like
Steam.
the video and leave a comment if you're enjoying it. For the algorithm gods.
Next up, Dream World, a game just
Oh, God. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here we go.
described as being the infinite open world MMO where you could sculpt the world and create
Yes.
anything you wanted with
Do
a
anything
massive
you wanna
catalog
do.
of objects in one single world with millions
That's
of
right.
other players.
Millions
You could
at the
explore
same time.
thousands of unique biomes and fight and tame Dreamworld's incredible creatures.
Absolutely.
This game claimed it would be the last game you ever played.
That's
this should
right.
have been the first red flag because the slogan doesn't even make sense. The Dreamworld Kickstarter, led by Zachary Kaplan and Garrison,
This guy apparently just had like rich parents and they just pretty much paid for everything, and so things kind of worked itself out.
and Bellick made a lot of promises that were more or less impossible to fulfill. But who are they? What is Zachary Kaplan's history that allows him to believe he is capable of taking these people's money and delivering on his massive promise?
Okay.
Well, he opened a crowdfund for a speaker you wear on your chest back in 2015 because he claims he was hit by a car not once but twice while running with his earphones in. This man doesn't
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, no, I could see, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
doesn't need a speaker on his chest. He needs to stop running in the freeway.
Guy thinks he's
Eventually,
Iron
he
Man.
stopped that crowdfund and promised all of his backers they would be able to purchase these speakers in just a few short months. That was in 2015, and here
Did it
we are
happen?
8 years later, and the website is still up with the product still listed.
Oh, it says coming soon. Oh, I see. So it'll be soon then. Okay. Wait, it's $150? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking insane?
It as coming soon. After that, he started a clothing brand, and it doesn't seem that panned out for him either. And neither of these projects are particularly
Oh, wow. Because it's like, that's a tiger. You know what I mean? That's cool because it's like a fucking, like a tiger and shit.
horrible ideas. I won't
crazy.
fault anyone for trying to be an inventor or an entrepreneur. By themselves, these ideas are completely fine. The
No, but they're not though because it didn't work out. It didn't work. So like, if you have somebody that takes 2 L's and it's like, you know, I got another one in me, I don't want to back that. This guy fucks up. Hey, you know what fuck ups do? They fuck up. That's what happens. This guy's a fuck up. He got hit by a car twice. For the same reason.
problem arises when, with those 2 failed projects behind him, he decided he would then use everything he learned about creating wearable speakers and t-shirts and applied that incredibly relevant knowledge to creating a massively multiplayer online game. Zachary Kaplan and his partner Garrison Bellick would create a Kickstarter and start hyping up their new game and the fact that it would be able to have millions of people play together and modify the entire world at will to their heart's content.
This game looks
Fortunately, they
pretty good.
didn't mislead backers by saying that they had come up with the solution to all of the problems that prevented this technology from existing already. Because
I see, yeah. So they've solved the problem that all of these big game studios could never solve. As you can see here.
that would have been lying to their investors.
The largest digital world that exists today can only have thousands of people. Then we came up with a solution that allows us to have millions.
What is it?
Okay, well, that's not a good sign, is it? Naturally, all of this took place where many of these stories take place, Kickstarter. While other MMOs with $400 million budgets were struggling to achieve a fraction of what Dreamworld was promising, these two were going to do it all with a Kickstarter campaign for $10,000. That's right, $10,000 and 2 people to develop something multi-million-dollar AAA.
Yeah, these guys are gonna they're just gonna borrow, like, they're just gonna whip something up and just make the best game you'll ever play, you know? Just get it done.
Studios have accomplished with hundreds of developers at their disposal. What could go wrong? In what I can only describe as the result of people pulling out their wallets while temporarily detached from their brains, this Kickstarter would somehow hit its goal, and then some, earning a total of $64,000.
Why are they using fake money? I never seen a 20 or a 5 that looks like that. I thought Abraham Lincoln's supposed to be on that. What the hell are they using fake money for?
$1,706. Despite the fact that it looked like every ounce of footage for this game was nothing more than random assets from the Unreal Engine store. Like every ounce of footage for this game was nothing more than random assets from the Unreal. The fact that it looked like every ounce of footage for this game was nothing more than random assets from the Unreal Engine store, slapped into the game with no rhyme or reason. It looked like that because that's exactly what it was, as Callum improved on his YouTube channel by showing each asset pack in the store. Even the main protagonist featured in all of the shots is the default mannequin from the Unreal Engine. The red flags were everywhere, but somehow that didn't stop 4 people from donating nearly $2,000 to the...
Wait, so the main character was just, like, a fucking placeholder?
Game. Once you have backed the game, you were promised access to the pre-alpha. However, the fine print stipulated that you wouldn't actually receive access to the pre-alpha until you also forced 2 of your friends to back the project as well.
Oh, that's smart. You know, they do this with a lot of those these schemes where it's like you can't just get addicted, you have to get your friends addicted too. It's like, yeah, we've seen this, right? It's like whether you're selling juice, knives, stuff like that, yeah.
It's things like this that start to push this entire Kickstarter farther away from ignorance and closer to malice. As soon as the Kickstarter closed and they had all of their money, they went to work on the game, right? Well, no. They immediately went on vacation, causing everyone to wonder if they'd run with the money. They would eventually come back, however.
I do have to give it to them. The Dreamworld guys, they did release a game. And you've got to have some big fucking balls to release what they did. You gotta have a massive dick to say, this is our game. You can play it on Windows 95.
And resume work on the game. They started a Discord server that used 14 to 16-year-olds as moderators.
A full-time job was promised to 14-year-old mod Jack, who left the community.
So they wouldn't have to pay anyone. Like many of the stories on this list, this is one that just kept on giving. Even Zachary's ex-girlfriend chimed in on the whole situation to explain that the 9 years of game development experience Zachary claimed he had was actually nothing more than him writing ideas down on paper, at best. Garrison's claims...
Oh, guys, I have more than I have like probably 20 years of game development experience then. Yeah, I got like at least 20, like minimum, probably more than that.
Of being a former employee at Google were also a bit misleading, as it turns out he was...
He used Google. He searched for things before on Google. So, I mean, he basically works there, right?
Was nothing more than an intern for a few months. She also explains that she broke up with Zach for a number of reasons, one of which being that when she went to get her wedding ring refitted so that she could actually wear it, the jeweler explained that it was so fake that it would break in half if they tried.
Oh my god. He gave her a fake wedding ring. Wow. The guy got hit by a car 2 times for the same reason.
I'm not at all materialistic, and I don't care about the size or the quality of...
Oh, no. The thing is, like, I don't think it matters. Like, I don't care. I bet if this guy had given her a ring pop ring, she would have probably responded better to him giving her a diamond ring, saying it's a diamond ring, and then it's not true. It's the fact that it's deceptive is the problem.
A wedding ring, I'd argue it's the least important aspect of any marriage. But buying your fiancée a ring so fake it can't be resized and then gaslighting her for asking about it shows severe lack of communication and maturity. But this was some pretty damning information. We basically confirmed that both of these guys greatly misled their investors where it pertained to their previous